Welcome back to AuthorTube Chat.
6 months later edition.
Boop, boop. It's been a while.
I don't think it's been that long, but it's been a minute.
It's been close, yeah. We are so happy to figuratively see all of y'all's faces. Glad to read your comments. Hello.
I just got an alert that you're live in case you were unaware.
Well, good. I'm glad. That is good to know.
I like it when it tells me that I'm live. Like I didn't know. Like, thanks for the info.
Like, this is my channel. I'm pretty sure I knew. What would be scary is if you got that, if that popped up and you weren't live, like the panic that would come.
I would most likely just be like, what are Sam and Grape doing? Because Sam and I share StreamYard because of the Storyteller's Hearth.
Yes.
And Grape has had access to mine since the last write-a-thon because I was down for the count. And so she was running my stream and I've just never taken her off, which may be a bad life decision. We'll never know. So yeah, I would just be like, who is accidentally on my channel or purposefully?
I hope now that I'm aware that Grape has these powers, hi Tay, that she corrals the troublemakers and they hijack the channel. That's what I want is for them
to do. While I'm at work and I can't do anything about it, and I'm just like, whatever.
Oh, that would be great. Oh man, I can envision it. Hello, welcome everyone. Lilac, hello for your first time here. I mean, it feels like the first time for us in a lot of ways. As just mentioned, we have been gone for a hot minute, and as we have returned, we're changing things up a bit. We got some new stuff going on, and I hope y'all are as excited as we are. Someone's very excited about sports, and I don't know why or what.
It's one of those things where it's like, are they real or do I block them?
Yeah, it's a lot of emojis.
It's a lot. It's like, but what's going to happen? And then you stare at it and wait for something to come up.
Yeah. We're both like monitoring the screen.
Watching.
Yes. Well, new projects and also like new communal projects. So I guess that's it. We're back, baby.
I'm also excited to know what the new projects are because I also don't know very much. Kate's been doing things behind making polls and topics, and I have no clue. I'm just here for the ride.
That's true. It's truly a surprise. I have questions for y'all, which I'm excited about. I have questions relating to some of the new activities that we will do together as a group, and just general things going on. But let me know how January is treating y'all. We are now 2 weeks plus into it. Yes, for JanuaryMo. If anyone's participating in JanuaryMo, I guess that could be poll 1 is how many of y'all are participating. Jess, how's it going for you?
Other than I think I ended yesterday 44 words behind, so I need to write a little under 800 words today to be on track. Now, Kate and I discussed the fact that we both suck at deadlines, and this is not actually how we discussed it, but we know that we're both rewriting. For those of you who don't know, Kate and I are CPs, so we've shared our stories with each other, swapped, gave notes, taken them back, did some tweaking, and then swapped ideas again, and then we're like, this is a hot mess. And now we have our stories back, and we're pretty much rewriting things. So our goal was to be done by the end of February. And right now we're both thinking that we'll probably be half done at February. But we're okay with that. We'll trade where we're at just in case the whole thing needs rewritten again. And we don't have to waste time and effort.
Yeah. This is what I think where we've both outlined. We're both finishing up outlines, and then we'll continue the drafting. And so it'll be kind of a good place to check in at the end of February to be like, is it on the right track still, or should I outline again?
Literally, my current outline has half as many words as my entire draft did.
Which is astounding. And I think that's a great sign, though.
I mean, I hope it means that I got it right this time.
Yeah. Or
a girl can
instead of big structural changes, it's one of those where I just keep hoping the next draft is like minute tweaks. Also, CB is a nut indeed, aiming for Millwordy.
I'm only doing quarter Millwordy this year. That's my goal. But to be fair, considering I only wrote like 60,000 words all of last year, that's a big bump.
Yeah, are you counting your outlining words in that? Because I feel like you should. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a whole new outline.
Yeah.
You won't even know what you get. I informed Kate last night that I've decided to kill off some characters who lived originally.
I cannot wait. She was over here telling me that there were multiple deaths that I would not expect. And she was like, should there be another? And I was like, yes, but she walked me through it. She reasoned and was like, maybe it would, you lose some impact if you just kill too many.
Yeah. Because there's already a lot, and then I added some more, and then it just felt like, maybe too much. Just pull back a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm so excited because I have been guessing at who it could be or why. I'm intrigued. Zara says January's been crazy for me. My publisher doing all sorts of things. Oh, Zara, they are not close enough, but I got the books you sent me. Thank you. Let's see. I didn't set out to be participating with JanuaryMo, but it kind of is it is kind of ending up that way anyways. Heck yes.
Always a good thing.
Always. Okay, 20% of the people here doing some JanuaryMo. You like to see it. Regina is doing January. I like it.
I would also like to sit more in January, but I sit all the time, so probably not a good idea.
Man, I took on this step bet challenge with a friend of mine, and it is kicking my butt. January has made me realize that drafting a novel in 8 days means I will have to rewrite it later. Nano did me dirty, but I'm having the best time with the rewrite. Okay.
Yeah, Nick definitely crushed it with with Nano getting 50,000 words done in 8 days. I think it was actually more than that, but yeah. Then you have to go back, but it's okay because it took me, 6 months to write 50,000 words, 40,000 if we're being honest, and I've had to rewrite them twice. So, I mean,
yeah, that's one of those that I feel like, different parts of the process take longer or shorter, depending on the person, sometimes depending on the story itself. So it's like, maybe the first draft didn't take you long, and the next draft will take you a little bit longer, or vice versa. Quarterly goals, Q1 Rimo. I like that. I dig it.
I get behind that.
I went through a lot of trauma healing. Oh, but I'm on task with my ghostwriting client. Okay. We like being on par. January is good because almost Lunar New Year. I'm excited to hear the bunny. Yes. We're doing, going over to Nanny's house for Tet. So I'm excited. That'll be fun. I didn't know JanuaryMo was a thing. Yes. Go check out Kitty Ann Writes and the Troublemakers. And they have all of the things. It looks to me like Jess might be grabbing some links for us. So if you're like, I have been wanting to know more,
I will find the link so I can link you.
Yes. Oh, Day, I'm so sorry. I started January with laryngitis, but I plotted a shiny new idea. That is very exciting. Do you want to share a genre or maybe a character from the shiny new idea? I am realizing now that I've been out of practice with this because talking is very hard.
Who wants to talk?
Yeah. I think I'm going to write my first short story in a year in February. Oh, that's awesome. I love people like returning to some new stuff. Not trying to get 50 a day. That is very fair, though. The Hex Library has done the thing. Oh, I'm very far behind.
I'm technically only doing 30. Well, I was technically only aiming to do 30,000 this month, but I don't know where we're going to end up at because only 5 of that was supposed to be outline, and I'm currently at like 16,000 for outline. So
I
don't even understand.
JanuaryMo. Oh man.
Fair.
Yeah, I want to see all of these Janunomos. Any advice for those in a January slump? Oof.
If you are a writer, because we also see people in here who aren't writers sometimes. But if you are feeling slumpy and you're just not able to get the work out, try doing something else creative or watch a favorite TV show, reread a favorite book, something like that to get you excited about it again. And usually that's what helps me want to do it, is being excited about it again.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I actually think I'm gonna try and do, I usually don't do a whole lot of, like, making a playlist or, like, making art for my projects, but I'm thinking because I've been switching between some for January, I'm gonna start doing that more. So that might be, like, a fun activity too. If you're like, "I don't know that I'm up to writing," but maybe just, like, surrounding yourself with stuff that reminds you of your project could be helpful also. Poor Becca with COVID. I know. Still gonna try and get as much done as possible, though. Just
You can do February, it's fine.
yeah, yeah. I actually kinda like the February one in some ways because it's, like, 4 weeks, you know? We don't have these weird numbers, just
Perfect 4 weeks.
yeah.
Me who put everything in my planner with only 30 days instead of 31.
Yep, yep. Drafting a pirate dystopian fantasy, and none of my family would read it because they claim it's too dark. I don't think it is, but I'm now questioning I mean, embrace the darkness.
I mean, what exactly is too dark?
Yeah.
It could be too dark for the age group that you're aiming for, but I don't think too dark exists.
Yeah, there's always an audience for dark or too dark for them. Like, sometimes particular readers don't wanna go that dark, but that doesn't mean the
Yeah.
story's wrong. Let's see. I missed stuff. Part of my words was my Camp Nano for April, however, I don't have my printer set. Oh, but that'll be fun to print it off.
Yeah.
Um, we kinda covered this one. Jess was on top of it.
This is what happens when I don't know what the topics are.
Yeah, yeah, no, our
Okay.
brains were in sync, you know? That's what even after all these months, we're still right here.
After all of these months where we spent a whole week together,
We are still right here.
we
Yes.
still got it. We only spent 7 hours in a car. I think it was like 6. I don't even know. It was a long drive.
It was a
6
long
hours in a car one way, a week together, and a 6 hours in a car the other way. And somehow,
Yeah.
still on the same page.
You know what I'm actually the most impressed by is that we talked the entire time. I kept thinking, I was like, "Oh, we'll probably, like, chat and then not chat and then whatever." I was like, "Nope, straight through."
Whole way. Whole way there. Whole way back.
Crushed it.
Crushed it.
Let's see. Yeah, has anyone, reached out? Are they doing a critique partner system for the first time this year? Are you, like, looking for beta readers for the first time? Let us know where y'all are at and exchanging your work with someone or sharing it if that is something that's new to you too. Oh, I'm writing a dark fantasy romance and sipping my tea. Yum. What kind of tea? After having a blast past Nano, I've decided November session is the time to draft all of my holiday romance books during the time, so it's now a thing for me. I love that, yeah, when you're just, like, in the mood, the holiday season is perfect.
Doesn't matter what time of year it is, sometimes it's the right time.
Yeah, that's true too. Catch us singing Christmas songs in May. Aw, watching the writing retreat club super inspired me. I'm gonna try and do a local one once spring arrives. Heck yes. Let's see, I would love to find a critique partner this year. Let me actually ask that as the next poll is how many of y'all have a critique? We'll do how many people have shared their work with someone actually. Boom, boom.
Because I haven't shared enough things today. Let me find Let me find another thing. Do 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 do. Can I invite people? Invite people. Copy. Oh, I am on a whole different page. Okay, here we are. Sarah, I'm going to share in chat the link for the Troublemakers Discord server, which is, if you don't know, just like a group of our friends. There's a bunch of us in there. There's a lot more now that we've been doing JanuaryMo. It's a strange place, but there is a place to post if you're looking for CPs or beta readers. And some people have found CPs through that. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love that they set that up where I feel like the hardest thing as writers is sometimes to find people. I know back in the old days, there used to be like message boards where you could find someone and exchange, but even then you're kind of like wading through a lot of stuff. And I know it can be harder to know like who to trust or how to trust or how much to trust with stuff.
yeah,
So being part of a community, a broader community, and finding someone within that can be really helpful.
we also have a like finding CPs and beta readers thing on the Storytellers Hearth Discord, but it's not nearly as active as the Troublemakers Discord, so you're more likely to get a good answer from there. So that's why that's what the one that I share instead of my own, because mine is not very active.
Yeah. It also ebbs and flows, like you mentioned. With JanuaryMo happening, it is popping.
Yeah. It's
I actually have a critique partner for the first time ever. We're both students though, so we're slower than molasses with each other's work. That can be the hard part is, how often to exchange. I just broke up with one of my critique groups. Yeah, that's tough. I'm looking for a graphic novel writing group this year, but it's kind of tough. It's like a niche of a niche. I can see that for sure. Yes. I wonder if you could find, I'm blanking on the website name where people post their sort of graphic novels, but maybe something to do with that. If I think of it, I will share it. I have only one CP at the moment. I'm actually finishing some chapters to send to her tonight. That is awesome. CP is following along as I write draft 2. She's already caught some great things and made me more efficient. That's like best case scenario.
Definitely.
Oh, do teachers at university count as critique partner? I don't know that they count as critique partner, but they're definitely like reading over your work, right? And you're getting reviewed.
I think technically a critique partner would only be if they also had shared work with you.
Yeah.
But
Discord. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the phrases that we use within the writing community can be specific, just like all the other ones. But if I pull 2 or 3 books out of my secret drawer and polish them and publish, can I count yes, you absolutely can.
Absolutely. You did write them at some point. They're your words.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'd have to go over them. That the polishing counts.
If you were retyping the whole thing, you would have had to have typed those words.
Exactly. Oh, I could see that. Yeah, I live in France, but write in English, so it's a bit difficult to find people for feedback. What's the difference between readers, betas, /CPs?
Well, readers are just like random people who read your books wherever you parse them out, whether it's Amazon, at a bookstore. What's that one website called that I can't think of? Anyway, whatever it is. It's like Wattpad, that's it. Got it, found it. CPs, which are critique partners, are, like I said, like Kate and I are CPs because we share or work with each other and swap them back and forth and give each other ideas about how to make things better. And a beta reader is usually someone that you give a like Not to say that you give them a whole draft, because sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But a beta reader is like when you're finished with like as much as you can do on your own, and then give it to a beta reader. They read it, they give you feedback. There's multiple different ways to do that, and then you can incorporate the feedback into the story.
Yeah. Esther is pointing out that a CP ideally should be a writer too. I also find that for most writers I know, their beta readers are also usually writers. I don't know
In
that,
our community, yeah.
yeah, it's not, it doesn't have to be true. Maybe I think as you get bigger and maybe have more popularity and get more readers, a lot of your like really enthusiastic readers can often become your beta readers. We see that a lot. I know Brandon Sanderson does that, and a bunch of other people have done it with Discord and stuff too. So, but yeah, I think that's a great breakdown. Hello. Okay. So Jess, most of these other questions I have figured out are in regards to the way that we're changing things up this year.
Okay.
Okay. So are you ready to vaguely make an announcement? We're 20 minutes in. I figure that's as good a time as any.
Best time.
Best time. Okay, so let me set the stage for what we had been doing if this is your first time to us. We previously just like picked a chat topic every other month, and just ran with it. And then slowly but surely, like a year and a half into doing this, we decided that we should also have a book club. So every 2 months, we had a book club pick. And that was very fun, quite enjoyed. And what we've decided to do now is we're switching it up a little bit. We have we're combining everything. We're doing a sort of long form thing for the year, with the asterisk that Jess and I have both learned to be flexible, because life will throw at you what it will throw at you. So if it turns out that this is like a fiery dumpster fire car crash, whatever, we will abandon this plan. But for now,
we're not going to read a 600-page book that we both hate just because it's a book we picked for the readathon, for the group book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So basically, also Jess and I in the past have attempted something, and we both didn't give it our full effort as a previous AuthorTube chat sort of experiment. So we're coming back. This is all to say we're keeping the book club, and we're doing like almost a double book club, 1 year-long book and 1 monthly book. It'll make more sense once we tell you.
And they're related.
They are related. Oh yes, look, it's clubs
full circle.
Clubs. Yeah, let me see. Let me pull up my banner. Okay.
I have my book. I'm ready.
You do. That's what I was trying to figure out. I'm gonna hint at this one. It's like book club / adaptation club. We're gonna come back to that because our year-long experiment, is that the book you have, Jess?
Yes.
Okay. The year-long experiment is that we will be reading through Sid Field's screenplay, The Foundations of Screenwriting. So if you want to join us in attempting to write a screenplay this year, we will be doing this all year. Once again, with that asterisk that dumpster fire may dumpster fire and we will run away. But otherwise,
the dumpster fire may catch. It may be spreading.
Yes.
It may come from one dumpster into another, and we may run.
Yes. Running is the smart thing. So we have plans. So this is, this is the one that Becca recommended that I bought ages ago. And Zara loves it. Regina's got this somewhere. Basically what it has is, it's not too chunky. It has exercises at the end of most of the chapters to basically help you along in writing a screenplay for the first time, or learning how to write a screenplay. Yes. Years ago, Jess and I, inspired by Becca, attempted to write screenplays in a month and like abysmally failed.
I didn't even get a whole page.
Yeah. Yeah. I quickly learned that you're not supposed to, like, put directorial choices in your screenplay, like, they're different things. So, anyways,
Yeah.
this is what we'll be doing. So for this first month, all you're gonna have to read is the introduction, okay? And then we're gonna do 2 chapters a month, basically until the end of the year. And for the ones that have um like exercises for you to do, I'm gonna flip to chapter 2. Because I think that's when the first one shows up. It's about the subject, which you couldn't see, but that's okay. Um, it says literally as an exercise, find a subject you want to explore in screenplay form. If need be, look through the daily newspaper, think about how you might want to structure your story, blah, 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 after we've read through about how to structure things. Okay? Yeah. So it's going to be a slow go, but I think that's the way to do it amongst our other goals for the year. Now, as part of doing this, we thought it would be smart for all of our book club picks, our monthly book club picks. Jess, do you have your other book ready?
I don't have that book.
Okay.
I'm not prepared. I'm not that prepared.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I'm not that prepared for a book that we picked yesterday.
Yeah. And I just happen to actually own this copy from years ago. We decided that to get fully in the spirit of doing this, all of our monthly book club picks should be books that have been adapted. Okay, so basically, the fun homework assignment, in quotes, don't treat it as homework, is to read the book club pick and to watch the movie or the TV show or whatever adaptation miniseries there is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, it's screenplays for us. And so for this first month, we're going to be reading a classic childhood tale of Holes. It's
By
Holes.
Louis Sikar.
Yes, and the movie's on Disney Plus. So if you're able to access that, I will say that I was not able to find the screenplay of this, but in the future we'll try and keep track of adaptations that like we can find the screenplays for, so that if you're like, oh, I want to read the screenplay while I'm watching, you'll be able to do that. But we figured this one is very accessible, so that's what we'll be doing first.
As we were deciding last night what our book was going to be, I haven't read the book, but I have watched the movie, so I at least know that I enjoy the story. And it's short and it's fun. Whereas when we picked our first book for the book club way back in the day, it was a very long book that we both trudged through and hated every minute of. But not every minute, but most of the minutes of. So I didn't want the ship to sink. I wanted to pick something that I was like, surely we can get through this. So yeah, that's part of the fun is like we'll get to read the book, we can watch the movie. Maybe we'll have some movie watch parties sometimes. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then we can discuss how the book was adapted into the movie or TV show or whatever the case was. Of course, we probably will have more to discuss about it once we get towards the end of the year than we will at the beginning, because right now we don't know anything either. But we know if we like it or if we felt like they kept the important parts or not. I mean, obviously, Kate and I don't have problems with adaptations because we both like the Vampire Academy adaptation and the movie, and it is nothing like the book. So, you know.
Yeah, that's very fair. Sorry, I was trying to get up a poll at the same time. Yeah, I think the most fun about this is that sometimes you can love something that is panned by the critics. And also the things that you love about an adaptation can be kind of similar things to what you hate about other adaptations. So it's going to be a fun conversation to have each month. We're really excited. I'm going to try and get this poll up real quick.
You do that. I'll talk some more because I'm good at that. Someone asked what was the book that we hated. It was A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. No shade to her because like that lady does her homework. She's a doctor, like an actual doctor, and like she knows what she's talking about. But that book was boring and I did not have a good time. So, but again, she knows what she's talking about. Sarah, the TV show is fantastic. I loved the movie. The TV show was even better. We actually watched the first episode of the TV show together. Me and Kate and Katie and Grape and Wallace and Miranda. I think everybody watched it. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we were all there.
We were all together and we watched it. So,
Yeah.
And had a good time.
Yeah.
So.
I actually still somehow have like 2 episodes left of the show to watch, but I continued watching it. So I'll get there. I'll get there eventually.
I can't believe you haven't. The end is so ridiculous. How have you not watched it yet?
I know. We talked about it, and then
we did because I was texting you in a panic.
Yeah, I felt like I had all these other shows, which is I'm currently on this like bout of finishing things that I have started a long time ago, like Legends and Lattes, through no fault of the book because I adored the book. I just didn't finish it for a long time. So now I'm finishing things. I'm going to finish that one. The current poll question is up. If you need other examples for recent releases, there's let's see what's coming out this year. I sent you a list. I'm gonna see. There's Red, White, and Royal Blue. No date yet, but that's supposed to be 2023. There's Daisy Jones and the Six. There's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. There's The Color Purple that's coming out or is already out. So there are even versions of these where they've been done over so many different times. We could compare and contrast different ones. We're flexible. I'm just curious what y'all are most excited about, with the asterisk being that we might not do that many old classics. But if you're interested in them, let us know.
Jessica doesn't like old classics, so getting her to read them voluntarily, difficult.
Which admittedly, they're not my favorite either. See, we could totally do Sandman. That's an option. Shadow and Bone, I would be willing to read. I
think we do have to watch things like Shadow and Bone because we're only going to be reading one book. We're not going to read the whole series and then watch a TV show.
That is true.
And so a lot of the ones that are made into TV shows, they pull in things from other books in the series. So it's kind of weird to watch them and then not really be able to make the comparison.
That's a good point.
But yes. And we are, like Kate said, going to try to find things that have a screenplay available for us to look at. Also in to help with the comparison, because we're trying to learn how to do screenplays.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for anything Stephen King. Doesn't matter, whatever. I think that would be a good one.
I think so too. And also it can finally get me to read something by Stephen King, because I've only done his short stories and on writing. So I would love.
My neighbor, who is a man in his 50s, who knows I like to read, gave me a recommendation for a Stephen King book. I don't remember which one, but I have it wrote down somewhere. And he was like, you have to read it on a dark, rainy day. And I was like, all right, I'm excited. I saved it in my phone so I could download it from the library and suffer.
That is so sweet though. He's like, you need to set the ambiance. You gotta
yeah. He's like, you gotta be prepared. All right, I'm ready.
That's Shawshank Redemption, which I have seen the movie of, but I've not read the book. So it'll also be fun for us, I think, as we go into some of these. Some of them we've read the book, but not watched the movie. Some we've watched the movie, not the book, Jess with Holes. It's gonna be a good time. There's a Bollywood Pride and Prejudice. Hell yeah. Green Mile. Love, Simon. Yeah, there are so many possibilities, which actually what we'll do is maybe over on Instagram. Actually, we're going to talk about this here in a second. I have questions, but you can suggest things. We'd love suggestions. Oh, Devil Wears Prada. My mom hated that book, which makes me giggle.
But the book was awful.
The book was awful, yeah. But that movie, though, you're right, exquisite. Actually, okay, I'm switching up. the order of the questions, but I am curious for people, which genre do you think lends itself best to being adapted for the screen? Do you think that of the books you've read that have been adapted, have you noticed there as a trend? Because I'm actually seeing, this might just be Stephen King as a whole, but a lot of horror seems to do well, question mark. Romance, debatably.
I don't think they adapt nearly as much romance. And at least they didn't used to. They definitely do a lot more of like the YA romance now
Yeah.
on Netflix and Amazon Prime. I say that because my favorite is on Amazon Prime.
What's
Um
your favorite?
oh, Our Chemical Heart by Crystal Sutherland.
Oh, I don't think I ever. Let me write that out.
I mean, if you want a good cry, if you would like your soul to be broken, it is a fantastic book,
Oh, I see.
and the adaptation is great.
Okay. I don't know that I'm ready for my heart to be broken, but that is good to know.
I mean, I'm rereading A Semi-Definitive List of Worst Nightmares right now because it's January and I reread it every January.
Yeah.
But as I'm reading it, I'm like, am I in the headspace that I could reread Our Chemical Hearts right now? No, don't do it. Okay, don't reread that yet. Not time. It's not time.
I'm not here for it yet. Yeah, I think that is a big point. All of it is like anything can be done well as long as it is done well, sort of thing. Horror Nicholas Sparks. That's a great point. I forgot there was the trend of Nicholas Sparks for like 2 decades or something. Maybe the classics. They're certainly the ones that get adapted the most. I feel like fantasy can be so hit or miss. Fantasy seems to be the big budget ones, right? You know, so we get a lot of the big movies there, but they can either, you know, soar or it flops. And obviously right now we're in the age of comic book adaptations. So Hunger Games trilogy, Divergent. That is when I refuse to reread.
What?
Divergent.
Divergent?
Those books made me so mad.
On the other hand, I didn't love them, but I loved the thing that everybody else hated. But I'm a
Oh,
contrarian and I like things like that. So
you know, I'll say that I'm happy an author went there. That's what I'll say. But like, no, I threw the book when I realized, even though I was pretty sure the whole time. But I love how we're like vaguely censoring ourselves as if we're gonna spoil anyone for this.
for this book that came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god,
We could do Heartstopper.
we could do Heartstopper
There's so many things.
because I haven't read Heartstopper. I did watch most of it. See, again, I didn't finish. Not because of Heartstopper, it was great, but Life of Pi, which I never did. The Hating. Oh, I'll say that The Hating Game, I actually kind of enjoyed the movie, but I sped read through that book because I disliked it so much.
Never read it
Mm.
or watched it.
My friend loved it though, and she's the one who recommended it to me, and I was like, no. I know,
see,
Lord of the Rings or all the Hobbit stuff. We have a lot of options,
we do have a lot of options.
which is what makes it fun. Oh, Studio Ghibli. House Moving Castle movie versus book. It's quite interesting. Personally, of them both, I would love that idea.
You have me on that one forever and ever. I love
Yeah.
House Moving Castle.
Well, we're kind of covering this one, but what's been your favorite book to screen adaptation, Jess? We kind of talked about our Vampire Academy love. We just love both of them.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Is it my favorite book to screen adaptation or is it my favorite movie that is based off of a book? Because I feel like those are two different things.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, and obviously my opinion is the only opinion that matters for everyone, an adaptation is for the most part loyal to its original source.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the themes, it keeps the vibes. you don't have to keep all the characters because sometimes it's too much. You don't have to keep all the scenes because it's too much. But like you have themes and vibes at least got to be the same. And there ain't no way in the world you can convince me that the Vampire Academy book and the Vampire Academy movie have the same themes or vibes because they sure as heck don't.
No.
One is like dark and gross and twisty, and the other is like, let's have a 90s pop party. Woo! Bubblegum and Britney Spears.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it is. Is it also great? Yes. So, in my opinion, based on versus adaptation, two different things.
Two different things. Okay. Well, you can answer both then. You gave yourself 2 questions now, and I'm excited.
But my favorite book to screen adaptation. Whew, there's so many.
There are a lot of good ones. Yeah. If you want to name a couple, I will not hold you.
I mean, like, I love the Lord of the Rings movie, but I've only ever read the first book. I haven't read the second 2 books yet, because I was bored. Perks of Being a Wallflower. I love the movie. Book's okay. Princess Bride, fantastic, always. I'm just responding to people's. Yeah, I'm just responding to the things people are putting at the bottom.
You know this one for me. Yes.
Princess Bride, though. I mean, that is probably one of the best.
Here's the thing I will say, Jess. When we're debating book to screen adaptation versus like based on, I actually think Princess Bride, despite the author being also the screenwriter, I would say it's more based on. The vibes are a little bit different in that one. They're both kind of ridiculous, but different.
I mean, I'll accept that. I'll accept it.
Yeah. I also put Princess Diaries as a modern classic because that is one of my favorites. I love those books growing up, and I love the movies for a completely different reason. They fit. Princess Diaries 2, amazing. Not at all like the books.
Oh no, I only read the first Princess Diaries book, and I obviously watched both movies, but like they're so different.
Yeah.
To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Oh.
I've only watched the first movie, which why did I never go watch? Like I have watched the Kissing Booth, like those movies 400 times. They're awful. I've never read the books.
Yeah.
But I watched To All the Boys I Loved Before, and I've never watched the second 2, but I read the entire trilogy in one night. It was like in 16 hours. Read the entire trilogy.
Okay.
And I think the first book and the first movie are pretty faithful to one another.
Okay.
It's a good adaptation. Is it my favorite? Probably not, but it's a great adaptation, I think.
Okay. I never read the book, but I did quite enjoy that movie. The first one. I still don't think I've seen the second, but
there's 3.
There's 3? No, where am I? Where have I been?
The Kissing Booth. Why? Why have I watched them all so many times? Couldn't tell you.
Ella Enchanted. But as an adaptation, that was my favorite book as middle schooler. Yeah.
I've seen that a lot. I will go back through these comments later and like look through and write things down.
Yeah, well, these are great. We're definitely missing some. I tried to write a couple down on my little sheet here. Okay, let's see. Most people are down for new releases, 51%, and then modern classics. And actually, maybe because we said we didn't want to really do them, but classics comes in third, but still 20%. Go ahead and end that poll. Thank you guys.
I actually think there is I haven't watched the movie, but there's a fantastic book called The Dry, by an Australian author. What on God's green earth is her name?
Oh, that's true. Ugh. I know. Here's the thing.
Don't get Rick started on those.
I was gonna ask people if they were joining us and if we did this in like July. Is it worth it one of the months to do a bad one? Like one that is universally panned. Is it a good idea
First off,
to commit?
First off, I love the Percy Jackson movies. You can come for me if you want. But to be absolutely fair to me, I was like in my mid-20s when the movies came out. I watched it in the theater.
Yeah.
So, like, I loved it, I had a great time. I'd never read the books. If I had read the books first, I would have hated it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not even the same thing. It's not the same vibes or feelings or themes.
Right. See, this goes back to the interesting thing because I would agree. Again, Vampire Academy, all different vibes, but I still love them both. However, Percy Jackson, despite saying that I didn't like it, I did enjoy the first movie. I watched that with my brothers too many times to count. The second movie's trash, but
The second movie is a hot mess. But my question is, did you read the books first or watch the movie first?
I did read the books first because I'd read my brother's. That was the first book series that my youngest brother Robert was actually like really into of his own accord. I think it's the only book series novels that he's been like, ooh. So I was like, oh, let me read them too. I'll bond with him. And yeah, so
I did the same for Vampire Academy too. I watched the movie and liked the movie, so then I read the books. So.
It feels so much easier, I think, sometimes when you watch the movie and then do the books to be like, oh, they're separate things, but still great. Whereas I think if you're a fan of the books, it can be hard when the movie seems to get rid of everything you liked about it.
Yeah. The Dries by Jane Harper, someone said it in the comments. I had pulled it up, but we were having a whole other discussion about Percy Jackson. I had to come back. It came out in 2016, I think.
Okay.
It is a like mystery thriller, and it does have a movie out now. I think came out last year, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like we have to pick something that one of us has watched either the movie or read the book, and I think that's going to be our safest way to go this year.
Okay.
I don't think we should just hop unless there's something that everyone really, 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 really wants us to do that neither of us have any clue about. I feel like we should try to pick things that we know something about.
Right. We don't want to repeat of the first time we started this book club, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I can't comment too much because I've not read that far in either of these book series, but I can see that being a popular-ish opinion. No,
it's because the characters from Six of Crows were so much more popular than the characters from Shadow and Bone or the whatever the first book was called before it was called the thing that I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So they were like, how do we weasel them into the story that they were never in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the show, not because I dislike it, but I just finished reading Crooked Kingdom in December, which is the second Six of Crows book.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we've kind of talked about this, and it is counter to the question I just asked. What is the worst adaptation you've ever seen? We've been flirting around this, but I really just want people to eviscerate things.
Beautiful Creatures.
Oh. God, I don't think I remember seeing the chatter around that and how much people hated it, but I don't think I ever actually watched it or read it.
I watched the movie and I really enjoyed the movie, but then they said they weren't going to make any more. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to need to read those books so I know what happens. And then I read the book and I was like, this isn't even the same. Like the characters have the same names.
But that's it.
I loved the City of Bones movie. Again, watched the movie before I read the books. Loved it. But that might just be because I'm a Jamie Campbell Bower stan. Like you will not convince me that is not a good movie. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, I actually enjoyed the City of Bones movie also. I was like, but here's the thing. I had at that point read the first City of Bones book and was like, it was my best friend's favorite book series of all time. I read it and I was like, okay, that's how I felt. I was like, okay. And then I tried to read the second one, got 100 pages in and noped. So taking that in mind, when I saw the first movie, I was like, actually, this is pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. So
I also love the TV show. The only thing about the movie was that they did some really weird character choices, like casting choices. Um, Mostly just with Alec because they picked like a 30-year-old guy to play a 16-year-old guy, and it was very obvious. And they also did the girl who played Izzy, they did that girl dirty because she is gorgeous. And
yeah,
they like the makeup and the way they styled her, she looked like a goblin. I'm sorry. Like the actress is gorgeous and they made her look like a goblin. And she's not supposed to be a goblin. She's supposed to be like the most attractive of all of the attractive shadow hunters. So I don't know what they did to that girl, but it was sad.
yeah. I did hear that this one got panned pretty hard. The Persuasion. I never watched the Ender's Game movie, but I did read the
I have
book.
nothing.
Live Time. I know people have not liked, but then some people have liked it, so it's very confusing.
There's also there's another one that is coming out soon that is by go to my holds. What is it?
Oh, The Lovely Bones.
Lockwood and Company by Jonathan Stroud, which I think is like a mid-grade,
Oh,
where it's like a mystery, like there are ghosts and ghouls and goblins and things exist, but only teenagers can see them, so the teenagers are the ones who have to fight them. And I think it's being turned into a Netflix show. I don't
oh,
remember which streaming service it's on, but it's going to be on one of the streaming services. So I have the book reserved at the library because I want to read it and check it out. So
oh, I love that. Okay. I've also written that down. Also, CEO, hello with a great question. Avion, question: as an author, how much involvement would you want in your book to screen adaptation? Bearing in mind that usually the author typically has no say, but how much control do you feel like you would want in an ideal scenario?
honestly, I want veto power. I don't need I don't need all of the control. I don't need like to be the person involved in everything, but I want to be the person who's allowed to be like, no, fuck no, you're not doing that. Because I feel like there are so many adaptations that did so poorly because of like one huge thing that they did that like screwed all of the fans over
Mhm.
or ruined everything for the rest of the series that I want veto power. It's kind of the same as like um in the City of Bones movie, for instance, at the end of the movie, they have the Mortal Cup.
Mhm.
Like our heroes are in possession of the Mortal Cup, which they
Yeah.
don't have at the end of the first book and kind of gets rid of the entire plot of the second and third books
Mhm.
by them having that. So like that would be where I would want veto power. I want to be like, you can't do that or you're not even going to be able to plot the next, like you don't want two more movies because you just ruined the entire plot.
Right, right.
So that's I want veto power. And after that, I'm good.
Mhm. Oh, I didn't know this day. I think that's a great point with the veto power, Jess. I also feel like, honestly, the people who are adapting it should have to read the entire series before they do it. Like, I'm sure that they like, not just the one book that started it all.
Right.
It says, "I'd love to have as much control as possible, but people weren't happy with Wheel of Time, and Brandon Sandow was pretty heavily involved, if I remember correctly." I did not know about that. Ooh.
I don't know how involved he was with it, but you also have to consider that um he only wrote, I think, 3 books in that series, and it's like a 21 book series or something.
Yeah.
So, like, was he retconning things that Robert Jordan did? I don't think so, but I haven't read them nor watched the TV show, so I don't really know for sure. I just know what I've heard from other people who have enjoyed them, but or who have consumed them,
Mhm.
'cause not everybody has read them, so.
I'm so that's why I'm writing a TikTok dance directly into my book. That way I don't have to veto it when the movie studio recommends it.
I mean,
I'm making it happen. Amazing actor in general.
he's a great guy. Like, let me rephrase. He seems like a great guy. I've met him twice. He was very nice. The second time was both times were at one of his shows, but like the second time was just like us hanging out at the back, waiting, the opening acts were up there playing, and he just like hung out in the back with us while the opening acts were playing. Like he was very chill and cool. And now that he doesn't do copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, he seems like a nice guy.
I was about to say, I feel like kind of the conversation we were having a little bit before then, we have to put an asterisk on all these things where we're just like something somewhere at some point will come out about someone you like. So better just not to like anyone. But seems like a nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy. I've only met him twice, and once was
That's more
for
than most.
once was for 2 minutes and once was for 10. I mean, but he seemed like an okay dude.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I didn't know this is very I've seen criticism of this, but as someone who's only watched the show and not read the books, I love the Bridgerton series. So
I've not watched or read that one. So I have no comments. It's not my jam. I don't like Regency stuff.
I get it. That's very fair.
Which is weird because I love history, but Regency romances are not my jam.
Got it. That's fair. Oh, there's the Shona. It's like, The Altered Carbon Netflix show did similar things. I read the book first and it ruined the show for me because I was watching it going, you just left out major important plot pivotal details. What the fuck? Yeah. Well, so I guess the other question is, I guess in your ideal world, let's see, what's a book that you love, Jess, that you want to be adapted, but maybe you're scared that if it was adapted, they would change things. This is like 2 questions, actually. Which one do you want adapted? And which one are you like, they would probably change this and it would ruin things?
Oh, they would probably change things in anything and ruin it. For sure. I mean, do I go for like something that is magical that would be awesome? Or so one of the last books that I read last year was All Our Hidden Gifts by Madeline O'Donoghue, who is an Irish author. It's the book I found when we were on Mackinac Island. We weren't inside the island, we were on it. Yeah, that book. That book was so good. Spoiler alert for my upcoming stats and faves video. It was my favorite book of last year. It was fantastic because it was like magic and all of the things that I love, but it also dealt with a lot of really heavy topics, homophobia, gender biases, all of that stuff. It was a very like deep, multi-leveled book with a swamp witch as a villain. So like, I can't complain.
Yeah.
I had a great time. It was a fantastic book. I would love to see that made into a movie. Also, everyone has Irish accents because it's set in Ireland, and no complaints.
Wonderful. Okay. We'll have to pick up. I love when it's just a book you stumble upon and it ends up being a favorite. You're like, this is it. Also,
I've already bought the second book. It's sitting right there. I can see it from here.
See, it's what Sarah with the answer that actually I would love, which is the Looter Chronicles books. I would love to see that as a TV show or a movie.
That would be a really good TV show because you could have, so many seasons.
So many things.
It's got so much content.
Material. Yeah. I found that adaptations are great when the writer loves the material. Usually the crap ones are adapted by writers that were hired by the studio because the book was popular. So they always want to change it up. Yeah.
They want to make it their own so that they can like have the stamp of approval. And it's like, you already have a built-in audience who likes what they've already got.
Yeah.
Just do more of that.
Yeah.
In no world will we ever read or watch anything Parable of the Sower related. Just so you're aware. Never happening.
Oh, I think the Grisling
I
Realm is
don't know if you've ever tried to read that book, but it is depressing
Oh,
and has some very serious trigger warning content randomly. I mean, it's a great book. It's won lots of awards. It's won lots of things, but it is not a book that I can handle the topic content topic. Yes, that's the words. Blah, 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 blah.
no, that's very fair. I've not read it, so
I tried to read it last year for Bethany's book club, and I was like, I can't.
noping out.
I'm gonna be over here. See you later.
Yeah. Oh, Mistborn adaptation. I know, Jess, you're reading your first Brando Sando book. I would love to see Mistborn. It's one of those fantasy novels that I'm really curious how they'd actually go about adapting some parts of it, the series.
Technically, it's my second Brando Sando book. Because
Because
I read whichever one of those ones, the first book of the Reckoners trilogy last year. But I started Elantris, so I'm now into
the universe.
The universe. I have gotten into the universe.
Yes.
I imagine they have to do a Mistborn adaptation.
Yeah.
Like soon.
Yeah. It's in the process of being adapted, but I've wanted an adaptation of the Ugly series by Scott Westerfield since I read it in middle school and I was excited and terrified for the movie. It's amazing how timely that one still feels. Eva loves Elantris.
I am 45-ish% through and I'm having a great time. I did have to stop reading it because I am doing a different readathon this week that book is not covered for, and it will probably take me a week to finish reading it because it's a chunky boy. So I did put it down so I could read the things for the readathon this week and then go back to it next week. But yeah.
Okay. Well, Red Queen adapted. We have successfully answered all of my questions that I had before, and all the ones that sprouted up randomly throughout. Oh, let's see. I did have this one. Have you ever written a screenplay, teleplay, or script before? 22% saying yes. 50% saying not yet, but I want to try. Hopefully you want to try with us. And 28% with no interest. But that's all right. Hopefully you're still along for the ride with us in reading.
For people who are interested in a Red Queen adaptation, let me know if what you really want is based on Red Queen. Because Red Queen, the first book, was fantastic. It was one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
But every book after that got worse and worse.
Okay.
And way worse. And then I just stopped reading them. First book, so good. So good. And then the second book was really boring. And the third book, I skim read everything but the first and last 50 pages. And then the fourth book, I was like, I'm not torturing myself anymore. And I unhauled all of them.
I always wonder for those if it was like the author had all the time in the world to write that first book, so they made it incredible, and then all of a sudden they're on a timeline for the next ones, and that's why they're not as good. Like I always wonder if that's what it suffered from.
I think this is why your two people who are watching you on the screen right now, Kate and Jessica, both want to hybrid publish, because I'm fine with publishing my solo books, standalones. They can the publishing companies can have those all they want, but my series are mine and you can pry them from my cold dead hands.
Yeah. Also, we are twinning. Jess has a little bit more color in her hair, though.
It's a little faded today. I need to dye again. You know, it's just overtoned, so it only lasts a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I love that everyone's with me.
Just
love the first book, same as the rest of the series. Plot twist. Yes.
Yeah. Everyone is. It's always unfortunate. You know, this is the kind of thing where you wish people were a little bit more divisive. Can we answer this question with my own books? I guess I gotta finish them. Yes. No, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, Jessica, this is the other spirit with which I'm taking things, is that if we're out of the chat topics, we'll end early. We don't need to stretch to 2 hours anymore. We're old now, and that's okay.
I agree. Things we should reiterate the important parts of the event today, though.
Yes, let's
So if you don't know, we do these on the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we flop back and forth between each other's channels. So if you're not subscribed to me, then you're gonna miss next month.
and
just
Jess
telling.
linked down below at the Hex Library.
That's me. You can find me, or you can not subscribe to me and then just remember next month on the third Tuesday, and then Kate will post something about it, and you can hop over. I don't really care. But there's that. So the book we'll be reading together is Sid Field Screenplay: The Foundations of Screenwriting. This week, or this month, I should say, all we're reading is the introduction. We're going easy, so that everybody has time to get the book. I don't think this one's hard to come by, but just to be kind, we're just doing the introduction this month, and then we'll be reading all of Holes, by Louis Sakar, which is, again, short, mid-grade, great book, supposedly. I don't know, I haven't read it, so I'm lying to you. It's a great movie. We're going to watch the movie, and then we're going to come back together on the third Tuesday of February, and we'll talk about the introduction of this book, and then we'll talk about the book Holes and the movie Holes and how we thought they did as an adaptation.
Yeah.
Which, considering we're starting out with one that the author wrote the screenplay for, we're probably going to be all right. But that's why we picked it.
Yes. I'm also excited personally because I have not read this book or watched the movie since I was a child. You know, pre-teenage.
Probably haven't. I mean, I was 16 when the movie came out, and I probably didn't see it in the theater, so I was probably like 17 or 18 when I seen the movie, but I enjoyed it. So
yeah. So we're gonna see 20 years on how this movie holds up. It was in 2003, so it'll be quite fun. But thank you guys for joining us. Also, sometimes in these monthly chats, we have other topics, which we may or may not do this year. Who's to say? You'll just be along for the ride. It'll be fun.
We don't know either.
Yeah. It's going to be a surprise to everyone. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we will see you next month on the third Tuesday.